In today's gospel, we hear how much people wanted to get to Jesus. So many people want to be in his presence that there's no room for them. Mark says, not even around the door. And so intent are the friends of the paralytic that they break open the roof in order to get their friend into Jesus' presence. And brothers and sisters, this scene from the gospel reflects a reality not only of Jesus' time, but of our day as well. People still do long to come to Christ. I'd like to share with you a story that illustrates this longing for me. Once when I was involved in a campus ministry at a local university, different than the one I'm at now, I took part in a project to invite uninvolved Catholic students to explore Catholic life on campus, and involved calling students who had identified themselves as Catholics and inviting them to a brief meeting at which they would be introduced to the various activities offered on campus for Catholic students. I was surprised to find that these relatively cold calls, these were not people who were looking for information, but it simply said that they were Catholic. These cold calls, more than 50% of the students who were contacted actually showed up for a meeting. But there's one student in particular that I remember. When I extended the invitation by phone to her, she was polite but firm in saying that she wasn't interested. And so I asked her, well, would it be okay then if I just sent you some written material instead? And she agreed. So I sent her a letter and some promotional materials about the campus ministry. And after she received them, she called back and asked if she could come over and talk. And when she came, she spoke about how she had been raised Catholic, but had stopped practicing her faith when she was, I think it was in like 8th grade. She was probably a freshman or sophomore at this time. She said she stopped then because her father had stopped going to church. And she said, when I received the materials from the Catholic Center, I felt like, well, you know, now that I'm in college, maybe it's time for me to re-explore the faith for myself. And so she said, interested in getting some information about being confirmed. This experience and others like it have shown me never to underestimate people's spiritual hunger. Even if at the time they may seem to be far away from their faith or from God, underneath there really is a desire to get to know Christ. But my encounter with this student also had another dimension to it, because in the conversation she said that she knew that 2 of her roommates were Catholics. She said they didn't say it, but each Sunday they would go off to Mass. And she was asked, well, did they ever invite you to come along? And she said, no, but if they had, I would have gone. And I say, brothers and sisters, that this incident points up another aspect of this spiritual hunger, and that is the dimension of our life, our faith life, which says, you know, certainly we are to be concerned for our own faith, maintaining it and deepening it. But also, we're called to have a care and concern for the faith of others around us, to help them deepen their faith, or in the context of today's gospel, to help bring others into Jesus' presence. You know, I'm struck today by the friends of the paralytic. They were resourceful, they were ingenious, they were determined. And as a result of that, they were successful. Their efforts brought their friend into the presence of Christ and led to a whole new life for him. St. Teresa of Avila once wrote, "Christ has no body now but yours. No hands, no feet on earth but yours. Yours are the eyes through which he looks with compassion on this world." And since this is the case, brothers and sisters, I encourage to prayerfully consider, you know, is there someone in our own life that the Lord is prompting us to be a friend to in terms of their faith? Somebody in our own life that the Lord is encouraging us to be an instrument of his in terms of inviting them to relook at their faith, and like the paralytic, to help bring them into the presence of Christ and help lead them to a newness of life.